I'm Kathavachak, the storyteller.
I'm Katha Vachika and welcome to the realm of Katha.
And welcome to the realm of Katha. I'm Kathavachak and welcome to the realm of Katha. A while ago we brought you the stories of Vikram and Betal. In similar series we bring you another 3 stories today. So let's begin. After heaving Betal on his shoulders, Raja Vikram started his journey again, and Betal began his another story. So, dear king, this story begins from the forests of Chitrakoot. Once, King Rupdat of Chitrakoot was roaming around in forest when he came across a hut. When he went inside, he saw that an old man was living in the hut with his very beautiful daughter. The king was mesmerized by her beauty and immediately offered to marry her, to which the old man agreed. They both were married off immediately. After the wedding ceremony, the king and the queen started their journey towards the capital city. On the way, they felt really thirsty, so they searched for water. And while searching for it, they came across a large cave. The cave was abode of a huge giant. The giant ferociously came out of the cave and grabbed the king. King pleaded for his life and promised the giant that he would send somebody else within 7 days, to which giant agreed. After coming back, the king and the queen were very much worried. They made an announcement in the kingdom to find such man who can go in place of the king, but they couldn't find anybody for 2-3 days. After 3 days, some ministers advised the king that he should offer some kind of prize or some kind of reward for the person who would go in his place. Otherwise, he won't be able to find anyone. When this announcement was made, there was an old man who was handicapped. He heard the same announcement. He went to his home and discussed with his family who were really poor. After a lot of discussion, they decided that the son of the family would go in place of the king. When the son reached the palace, king and queen were really happy. They blessed him a lot. As and when they blessed him, the boy started to laugh loudly and simultaneously cried bitterly. He decided in his mind that he won't die such a death and he will fight till the end. As the child reached the front of the cave, suddenly the giant came roaring outside and attacked them. He also killed a few soldiers who were accompanying the boy. The boy fought valiantly and eventually emerged victorious. At this point, Betal stopped his story and asked King Vikram, "My dear king, now tell me, why did the boy laugh and cry simultaneously? You have to tell me, king, otherwise your head will explode into pieces." King Vikram thought for a bit and then he said, "Dear Betal, I think the reasons were the same. When he saw that the king who had actually promised to save his kingdom and to protect his kingdom was the one who was sending him to his impending death, he laughed at the satire and at the irony of the situation. Simultaneously, he realized that the parents who had helped him grow, who had fed him, were the ones who were sending him to his death. He started crying. Although he realized that every man has to face his own struggles in his life, and thus he emerged victorious. Betal was really happy with the answer and said to the king, "My dear king, you are a very wise man, but I don't think you are a smart man. You forgot your promise and opened your mouth, so now I am off." And he flew away. King Vikram got Betal down again from the tree and heaved him on his shoulders and started his journey. As he began, Betal said, "Dear king, you are a good companion, but you are a boring man, so let me tell you another story." This story is from a place called Yamuna Nagar and about a priest called Keshav. Keshav used to work in a temple. One day he met a man named Haridat who had came into town for some business. Keshav was really happy seeing a young strappy man like Haridat. When they were discussing something, suddenly Keshav's daughter Malti came into temple and was introduced to Haridat. Haridat was mesmerized by her beauty and offered to marry her, to which Keshav said yes. When Malti returned home, she saw that there were some guests in the house who had come along with their son named Baman. They offered marriage for Malti because Baman was in love with her, to which Malti's mother said yes. At this very moment, Malti's brother was visiting his master, who told him that one of his disciples, Madhusudan, wanted to marry his sister Malti. because he was in love with her. The brother also agreed. When all three met at the house in the evening, they started fighting with each other, but they couldn't reach any conclusion. Next day, Malti was roaming around in a garden when suddenly a snake bit her. Everyone tried to save her with all sorts of treatments, but they couldn't, and she passed away. After she was cremated, Madhusudan took a vow that throughout his life he will denounce everything and he will live as a saint. Baman also said that he would carry Malti's ashes with him and would live in forest for all his life. Similarly, Haridat vowed to stay at Malti's place forever and would take care of Malti's parents. Many years passed. Madhusudan had become a saint and he was living with a family. The family had an old man living with his daughter and his son-in-law. One day the son-in-law returned home injured and he was very heavily injured. They tried to save him by normal means but they couldn't and he passed away. The daughter started crying a lot and pleading to her father to save her husband's life. To which father said that don't worry my daughter, I have my book of life, so I'll read some hymns from it and I'll save your husband, don't worry. Madhusudan was quietly watching all this. He saw that the father took the book of hymns and he started reciting some chants. And lo and behold, the son-in-law came back to life. Madhusudan was amazed by this. So he sneaked into the old man's room at night and stole the book of life. He ran and came to the place where Haridat was now living with Malti's parents. He also called Baman to the same place. All three of them sat together with Malti's ashes and Madhusudan started reciting the hymns from the book. And suddenly Malti came back to life. At this point, Betal stopped his story and asked King Vikram, "My dear king, now tell me, who should Malti marry? Should she marry Madhusudan or Baman or Haridat? Tell me fast, my king, your head can explode into 1,000 pieces." King Vikram thought for a bit and said, "Dear Betal, I think Malti should marry Haridat. Madhusudan brought Malti back to life, which is duty of a father. Baman fulfilled the duties of a son by taking care of her ashes. But it was Haridat who stayed with her parents and took care of them, and that is all out of love, and thus he fulfilled the duty of a true husband. So Malti should marry Haridat." Betal was really happy with his response and said, "My dear king, you are absolutely right. As I said, you are a wise man but not a smart one. So you forgot your promise and I am off." And he flew away. King Vikram started his journey again with Betal and Betal began another story. So dear king, this story is from a place called Kusumavati and a princess called Chandraprabha. Chandraprabha was heavily in love with a man called Manu Kumar. Although they both loved each other, Chandraprabha knew that she would not be able to marry Manu because he was really poor and she knew that her father wouldn't agree to this marriage. So one day she told Manu that he should forget her and should leave the kingdom immediately. Manu Kumar was distraught, but he agreed to Chandraprabha. Now a few kilometers from the kingdom, there was a wizard who was travelling with his son named Shashi. Suddenly many dacoits attacked them and started looting them. Coincidentally, Manu Kumar was travelling very nearby and he saw this whole scenario. He suddenly came and attacked the dacoits and fought with them valiantly. The dacoits were scared and they fled from the place. The wizard was really happy with Manu Kumar's bravery and offered him to fulfill one of his wishes. Manu Kumar told him about his love for Chandraprabha. And he said that though I cannot marry Chandraprabha, but I want to live with her. So give me some power to change my disguise. The wizard agreed and gave him one ring. He told him that if you wear this ring on your right hand finger, you would turn into a beautiful maiden. And if you wear it back on your left finger, you will back turn to Manu Kumar. All three of them reached Kusumavati kingdom and wizard met the king. The king was really happy with the wizard and offered to fulfill one of his wishes. The wizard told him that, "Dear king, I want to travel to pilgrimage with my son, but I have nowhere to keep my daughter-in-law. So would you be kind enough to take in my daughter-in-law for the time being?" To which the king agreed. Soon Manu Kumari and Chandraprabha became close friends. One day Manu Kumari saw that Chandraprabha was really sad and so he asked her the reason for it. Chandraprabha told him the story of her and Manu Kumar's love, and she showed him the desire to meet Manu Kumar once more. Manu Kumari immediately took her ring off from her right hand and wore it in her left hand and turned back to Manu Kumar. Chandraprabha was really happy to see him. In the same kingdom, there was a minister whose son saw Chandraprabha and Manu Kumari playing together and immediately fell in love with Manu Kumari's beauty. When he told his father, the father told this to the king and offered to marry his son to Manu Kumari, to which the king agreed. Now, due to some coincidence, Manu Kumari injured her finger in right hand and was unable to take off the ring, and thus he had to marry the minister's son. When the wizard returned back from his pilgrimage, he was really angry to see the whole scenario and started abusing the king. To pacify him, the king offered Chandraprabha's hand for marriage to the wizard's son Shashi. As soon as Manu Kumar learnt about this incident, he immediately tore off the ring from his finger and ran to the wedding place of Chandraprabha, and he immediately asked to stop the wedding. At this point, Betal stopped his story and asked King Vikram, "My dear king, now tell me, who should Chandraprabha marry, Manu or Shashi? Tell me fast, my king, your head may explode." King Vikram thought for a bit and said, "Dear Betal, I think Chandraprabha should marry Shashi, because their wedding is happening with all rites and rituals and with everybody's consent. Though Manu Kumar was in love with Chandraprabha, he took the help of deception and he deceived everyone in the kingdom. That is not the right way. So I think Chandraprabha should marry Shashi." Betal was really happy hearing this and he said, "Dear king, I very much agree with you that she should have married Shashi. But you opened your mouth again, so I have to fly off." And he flew off. So these were today's stories. We'll keep bringing you such interesting stories. Until then,